Wario's Woods was the final game released on the NES in North America, first coming out on February 19th, 1994. In December of that same year, it was re-released on the Super Nintendo. As usual, I'll be referring to the more updated version. It's a puzzle game taking place in an area once referred to as the Peaceful Woods. It was home to many animals and a species of fairies known as the Sprites. However, recently, the peace of the forest was interrupted by a foul-smelling man and his band of monsters, who built a large castle and renamed the area after himself, calling it Wario's Woods. This is where our heroes step in. But this isn't the red-clad plumber you've all come to expect at this point, nor is it his lanky plumber brother. In fact, it isn't a plumber at all. This time, we follow the exploits of an exceptionally strong Toad, who's come to Peaceful Woods in order to save it from Wario's influence, with the help of a local group of fairies called the Sprites, and for some reason Birdo. Yeah, that seems like a weird character to use in the universe, but I understand what they're doing from a meta perspective. I'll discuss that more in depth after the plot summary. So the two of them, working together with the Sprites, take on Wario's army. There are a total of 18 bosses in this game, and none of them outside Wario himself ever appear in other games, so I'll just run through them quickly. Katsuni is an alien dressed like a magician. He seems to be a member of the same alien race as Tatonga from Super Mario Land. Galrog is a beast based on the Balrog from Lord of the Rings. Harley Q is a female jester and a play on the word Harlequin. Sam Spook is a Mario-like human with a pumpkin for a head, similar to the Headless Horseman. Sven is a Viking-like character who looks like a giant beard with arms and legs. Assumedly, though, there's something underneath. Parrotter is a half-monitor lizard, half-parrot. Don't ask, we're just gonna move on. Mousse is a French ghost with a beret. Despite the name and his ghostly appearance, he looks very different from the Boos and may be unrelated to them. Aqualia is a vain mermaid. Razor is another aquatic creature who looks very similar to Zora's from the original Legend of Zelda games. Tad Rock is a frog rock star. He's probably meant to be a toad, but I felt calling him that would be more confusing. Thak is a blue ogre with a horn in his head. Lizardon is a large dinosaur-like creature. Sarissa is a human who looks to have some sort of magical powers, maybe a witch or a wizard. Mingalox is a large hairy creature. Dedar is a creature that looks similar to a folkloric elf. Carlton is a highly intelligent knight who guards Wario's castle. Harry H is a magician hare named after Harry Houdini. There are a few more that are exclusive to the NES version that I won't consider to be canon, but I will show them here for the record. And then finally, we have the final boss of the game, Wario, hiding in his castle behind multitudes of underlings and monsters. When Toad finally manages to defeat him, the Mushroom Hero decides to end Wario's grip over the Peaceful Woods once and for all, bombing and destroying his mighty castle. And with that, the day is saved and Toad returns home, satisfied that the Peaceful Woods is once more at peace. This game actually has a few relevant points to discuss lore-wise. First of all, the Sprites. They share a Japanese name with a number of characters and groups from throughout the Mario series, such as the Sprixies from Super Mario 3D World, the Spritelings from Wario World, and Wanda from Mario and Wario. The word used is Yosei, which is just a generic Japanese term for fairies. Birdo's appearance here is also strange, as this was her first appearance in a game that was always intended to be a Mario game, as well as her first time as an ally to anyone from the Mushroom Kingdom. Her appearance puts the game later in the timeline, as we witness her hatching from her egg during a game we haven't covered yet. Arguably, we could also use her friendliness to put this game after Super Mario USA, though honestly that's not a necessary point. Now the inclusion of Toad and Birdo here is very interesting. This game draws a lot of connections to the American Super Mario Bros. 2, including not only Birdo, but also the first direct reappearance of Pidgeot since that title. Toad 2 controls a lot like the characters in that game, and a lot of comparisons can be drawn between this Toad and the previously playable one. It's likely that they're the same Toad, so I think part of the point of that game, lore-wise, was to help bring elements of Super Mario USA into the main Mario universe. We start to see that game having a lot more influence going forward, as Nintendo fully embraces the weirdness of that game. Finally, let's talk about where Wario is in his wretched life at that point. He's ruling an area named after himself from an imposing castle, but we see far more than just the peaceful woods in this game, as to reach the castle, Toad has to travel across an entire land. A Wario land, if you will. The castle has some similarities to the castle Wario received at the end of Wario Land. If so, this would be the castle's last appearance, as Toad destroys it at the end. Wario also still has his plane, the Bulldog, so this has to take place before its destruction as well. Due to that, I'm going to place the game right here at the end of the timeline, after Super Mario USA. If you want to play the game yourself, the SNES version is currently unavailable, but you can find the NES version of the game with different bosses on Nintendo Switch Online. Thank you for watching, and I'll see all of you next time.